was in kindergarten, my kindergarten teacher gathered us all around and she told us the most inspiring thing that I had ever heard in all my 5 years of existence. She sat us down and she said, "Kids, you can grow up to become anything you want." Anything? Man, with a choice of anything, I knew exactly who I was going to become. I was going to become my childhood hero. I was going to do what he does, fight for what's right, defend the weak, live with honor and integrity, and be a leader. That's right. As a kid, I knew that I was going to grow up to become Optimus Prime, leader of the Transformers. My eyes were open that day. I could not wait to grow up. And so later that day, when I went out to the playground and some bullies pushed me down in the mud, I just looked at them and I said, "Hey, just you wait. Because when I grow up, I'm going to deal with you. And if I don't get you, my buddy Brian will, because he's going to grow up to become Batman." And now here I am. I'm grown. I've got kids of my own. And so you can imagine my disappointment. It is obvious, apparent, that Miss Weaver lied to us. She made it sound like you just get older and then magically become whoever you want to be. And we all know that's not the case. I think that her heart was good, though. I don't think she was trying to lie to us. I think she just forgot to tell us the most important part. She forgot to tell us how. And so the question now is, what should we tell kids about who they can be and what it means to pursue a dream? Now, I'm a high school teacher and coach, and I have a unique perspective because from that perspective, I get to meet these kids, these little 7th grade kids, that period of time when their backpacks are still bigger than their torso, and I get to watch them grow and become 18-year-old men and women leaving home, going out to conquer the world. And in that time, I've seen some very special and amazing things. I've seen some incredible growth. And so there are really 2 things that I tell kids about who they can grow up to be and what it means to pursue a dream. The first thing I tell them is that great things are possible, but it is a process. And the second thing I tell them is that dreams, in and of themselves, have value, whether you accomplish them or not. So, for example, there was a kid that I coached. His name was Ricky Fantroy. He came in. He was just a little guy, a freshman when I met him, and he wanted to be a great triple jumper. I was coaching track, one of the sports that I was coaching, and he thought that he was the next big thing. He had no reason to really believe that, but he did. And I was okay with him believing that because I knew that if he was willing to embrace the process, great things would happen. And he was. And he did. He loved the process every day, waking up, working hard, getting better, improving your skills, sharpening the blades, as I like to call it. And so we started practicing in a very unique way. Researcher Anders Ericsson, he is a scientist in the study of expertise. And he also wrote the book Peak. And in that study, he's found that great performers, expert performers, practice in a very specific way. And so we set out to do that. I think oftentimes people get caught up in this idea of, it's simple. It's just hard work. You just sleep less and you work more and you lift more weights and you run faster and you do all these things and that's what leads to great performance. And that's not the case. It is a special type of practice, which is even harder than hard work because it requires research and study. And that's what we did. Ricky and I, we set out to study muscular development, biomechanics. We filmed his techniques, and every day at practice, we would come out to practice intentionally, deliberately, with something that we knew we were going to fix that day. We'd say, hey, today we're going to work on the second step. We're going to make that perfect. And in doing that, he saw some incredible results. Now, it did not happen all at once. I like to make sure the kids know this, is that Ricky spent a year being terrible. It's hard, it's awkward. He was growing every day, getting better every day, but still well behind everybody else. And then he spent a year to a year and a half being average to above average. All so that he could spend 2, really 1.5 years being great. One of the best high school triple jumpers in the state of Texas. And that's quite a feat. One day, we were at practice. He had watched his growth, and so we were at practice, and he was philosophizing about how far he thought this type of practice could take him. And he looked at me and he said, "Coach Ware, what's the world record in triple jump? And I was like, oh, that's 60 feet, Ricky. And he goes, 60 feet? I'm going to beat that someday. And when he said that, I did not laugh in his face. I didn't sit there and say, oh yeah, Ricky. I didn't remind him that in the whole course of human history, all 107 billion people that have walked the face of this earth, there's been only one person who's ever done that. I didn't remind him of any of those things. I just looked at him and I said, okay, Ricky, and when you get to 60 feet, we will then work on 61, okay? And then we'll work on 62, and we'll just get better every day. Now, there's two reasons why I did not crush that dream. Reason number one is because who am I to sit here and tell him who he can and can't be and what's possible for him with years and years of practice and research and study and improvements? I don't know. I would have felt pompous standing there making proclamations about who he could be and what's possible. So I didn't. And the second reason why I didn't talk him out of that dream is because dreams in and of themselves have value. When I was his age, I had a big dream. I wanted to play football in the NFL, and that did not happen for me. But on that journey, on that pursuit of that dream, I learned a work ethic, I learned perseverance, and because of that, I earned a college scholarship to play football. I got to travel the country, play football on TV in front of thousands of people. I saw some of the most beautiful and amazing things and met incredible people. I met my wife while I was in college, and every day I am thankful for her and inspired by her and inspired by the family that we have and our kids. All these things would not have been possible unless I stepped out and pursued that dream. Because of that dream, I got a college degree, which now allows me to have a job that I love and wake up every day excited to go to. And so I knew that Ricky's dream would have value whether he accomplished it or not. And it did. The really special things happened for him in pursuit of that dream. Number one, he qualified for the state track meet. And in that is something really special. At McKinney High School, the school that I was at, they have a great tradition where if anytime an athlete qualifies for a state competition, many of his peers, the other students, will meet in the commons area and just pat him on the back and affirm him and congratulate him. And so they did that for Ricky. They sent him out as we were walking out to go to get in the SUV. He comes out, he sees the SUV is all painted up. The cheerleaders are all there in their cheerleading attire and the dance team, and they create a little pom-pom tunnel for him to walk through. And then, on top of that, we get into the SUV, and I'm going over the itinerary with him. Hey, we're going to go to the hotel, it's got a pool, we're going to wake up the next morning, we've got to be up by this time because they have a continental breakfast. And he's like, whoa, coach, what are you talking about? Pool, continental breakfast, what's a continental breakfast? So I had to explain to him, it's a free breakfast, and all these things are blowing his mind. He's asking these questions, and I started to realize, I'm not sure he's ever been to a hotel before. And then on top of that, he gets handed an envelope full of his per diem money. The school gives him money so that when he's away in Austin, away from home, he can buy meals and breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And so he's sitting there thumbing through this envelope of money. I'm not sure he's ever seen that much money in one place. And the journey continued, and the excitement continued. And now it's the day of the state track meet. It's been building to this point. We've already warmed up. We've walked to the entrance of the venue. This is the time where the athlete walks out onto the track, and I, as the coach, have to go to the coach's box. And so I just hug him, and I tell him I love him. I tell him I'm proud of him, and that I'm so excited for him, and we're all going to love him. We're all going to be proud of him no matter how he does. And I put my arm around him, and I go to walk him into that venue, and he kind of puts the brakes on me. And I walk around, and I look in his face, and he's looking into the stands, and he sees all these people. The stands are packed. And he's got this look of terror on his face, of just absolute fear. And he's sitting there, and I watch him, he's kind of nodding to himself, and I know he's giving himself a little pep talk. And then finally, he just looks at me, and he just goes, I got this. And he walks out there. And that in and of itself is a skill set, to be able to feel the fear and to persevere is a skill set that cannot be learned on the couch, but can only be learned in the heat of the battle where you are testing yourself against the giants. And that is something that he will use with him the rest of his life. And so that's why those dreams are valuable. He went out, he performed better than he had ever done. He got himself a big, fat state medal. After the track meet, we go to Joe's Crab Shack. He picked the restaurant. He's sitting there. He's got his appetizer, his entree, his dessert. He's ordered one of everything on the menu. He's got his soda there. He's surrounded by his friends and his family. He still has that big medal on his chest. And he leans forward and he says, "Coach Ware, this is crazy." And I agree. When you pursue a dream, when you step out to accomplish something special, amazing things happen. Crazy things happen. Expect adventure. And that's what he got. And the medal, that's awesome. And the adventure and the stories, those are awesome. But what is really special is the character that he learned, the perseverance that he earned, the courage that he gained. All these things have value, and he's going to be that type of father. He's going to be a father that uses that work ethic with his kids and his family and his wife. He's going to be the type of employee that knows how to persevere under pressure. He is not the only one. There are tons of kids, just like Ricky Fantroy, who pursued a dream and along the way gained so much more than they ever imagined. For example, there's a kid up there, he plays Major League Baseball. There's another kid up there, he plays football in the NFL. There are multiple kids up there who've won state championships in track and field. And there are also kids up there whose dreams ended in disappointment. But when they got to the end of that road, the same as for me, when I did not get drafted to play football in the NFL, I looked around and I looked at my family and I looked at my job and I looked at all these people that I've met and things that I've gotten to see and the character I've earned, and I realized I was not left empty-handed. And that is what's special. I believe that pursuing a dream is valuable, I almost would go even far as to say necessary for a child's development. Researcher Angela Duckworth says this about extracurricular activities. She says that as a parent and a social scientist, I would recommend that as soon as your child is old enough, you find something they might enjoy outside of class and you sign them up. Be it band, orchestra, debate team, chess club, theater, sports, any of those things, but something that a kid can persevere in and pursue, and something that will cause them to step out and try and do something great. That is what is special. And so when I look at myself as a 5-year-old kid, and I think about who I was then, and I think about the kids that I coach now, and I think about my dreams that I had then, and who I've become, I've realized that Miss Weaver did not lie to us after all, because in the end, when you pursue a dream, you really do transform. Thank you.